Hey guys, and welcome to MVKP, a podcast for all things sports by Caitlin Parrish, but you guys can call me KP. So this is the first edition of my podcast I've been so excited to make, and this is probably the best week for me to do my first edition because there's been so much going on this week. I don't even know where to start. This week we have NFL playoffs going on. We have the NBA trade deadline coming up beginning of February. We have MLB trade going on right now. There's just so much going on. And I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the MLB trades just with my opinions. So, because there's just been a lot going on. And I'm just going to start with last night with Kyle Tucker. I was sitting here minding my business and I get an alert. Kyle Tucker to the Dodgers. Oh my goodness. I thought I was being pranked. Because Kyle Tucker, okay? Chicago Cubs last season, okay? But to the Dodgers, out of all the teams he could have gone to, we're going to the Dodgers. Last year's MLB champs. The Dodgers. Just let that sink in. The Cubs had him for a season, okay? And he did well for Chicago. He did. Then, he got injured. Got injured again. Playoffs came around. He was DHing for Chicago, okay? Not one of his better seasons. Chicago will pick up big hitters and then, for one season and then, that's it. Chicago does not commit to people for longer than one season. And that's exactly what happened with Kyle Tucker. And look at that. We extended the offer. He said no, and now he's in LA. So it was a four-year, $240 million contract. Insane. So now the Dodgers have Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Kyle Tucker. Where does the madness end? Where does it end? And if I see a three-peat this year from the Dodgers, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm really not. I'm not. So, speaking of the Cubs got Alex Bregman. As a Cubs fan, I'm excited. I personally am excited. We got rid of one former Astro. Let's bring in another one. One season in the Red Sox. Okay. Like I said, talking about Kyle Tucker, the Cubs are known for not signing people for longer. Like when we pick people up off free agency, for not taking people for more than 1 year. Okay. 5 year. Got Alex Bregman for 5 years. Again, I had to read that and make sure it wasn't a typo. It was a big shock, okay? But now it comes into Chicago. What's going to happen to Ian Happ? What's going to happen to Matt Shaw? What is the lineup going to look like in Chicago with, a new third baseman coming in? Bregman's going to be he's going to be third base. And I think that Matt Shaw is going to be first to go if we are going to get rid of someone. There's just a lot of unknowns right now in Chicago. And there's also rumors that they're going to go and try to get another big hitter. We'll see if that happens. Knowing Chicago, it probably won't happen because the Cubs do not like to spend money. They're very stingy about it. So who knows? But this is the third largest deal in Cubs history. The only two larger deals were Jason Hayward, who we won the World Series with in 2016, and Dansby Swanson. Another big question that's up in the air right now, going back to the Cubs, is Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger, former Cub, he's kind of been around, whatever. But right now, he was on the Yankees. They gave him a qualifying offer. Actually, I believe it was 2 qualifying offers now. And he's like, nah, we'll see, whatever. So it's like, Cody, where are you going to sign? And I think the real talk is right now, with the Mets. I mean, at least he won't have to get rid of his apartment in New York. But just imagine, like, Yankees, Mets, crazy. Again, we'll see where Cody Bellinger ends up. I guess that's the real one where I'm sitting here. Like, I feel like it's going to be any day that we find out. I wouldn't be surprised if he stays in, like, the Yankees. But also, they've already extended him 2 offers at this point. And from what I was seeing is they're extending him 5 years and he wants 7. So, which I get it. You want the longevity of it. You want the solidity. And I get it. But where are you going to end up, Cody? Ranger Suarez. Okay. I lived in South Jersey. I went to so many Phillies games. The Phillies fans love Ranger, okay? When I saw that he got traded to the Red Sox, my jaw dropped, okay? I mean, Citizens Bank Park lights up when this man goes to pitch. It just erupts. And now he's gone. The Phillies, they have a very strong pitching lineup as it is, even without Suarez in the lineup. But the Phillies, they had 3 big people that, they all had to evaluate. Kyle Schwarber, okay? JT Realmuto, Ranger Suarez, okay? You got the big 3 hitters right there. One of them really being a big hitter, being Kyle Schwarber. Personally, I would have been very happy if Kyle Schwarber just migrated his way back to Chicago. That did not happen. He resigned. He's staying in Philly, okay? So that leaves 2. That leaves Ranger and JT, okay? Now we know that Ranger is now going to Boston. That leaves JT. As of right now, January 16th, JT has not re-signed with the Phillies. But I could see him re-signing with the Phillies, okay? That is another man that the city of Philadelphia loves, but also loves to hate. That is something else about Philadelphia sports. You can get on their bad side just as easily as they love you. And you can also go back and forth very quickly. The last one for the baseball trades I'm going to talk about is Bo Bichetti. Orlando native, got a rep, love O-Town. He just signed with the Mets for free agency, 3-year contract. Players are making over $100 million. I'm so jealous. I wish I was a man playing baseball, Really wish so. Going into NBA, oh my gosh, there has been some crazy stuff going on in the NBA. I mean, just a month or 2 ago, we had everything going on with Terry Rozier. And, like, all the comments I see on the videos nowadays are like, oh, this player is betting. And it's like, there's definitely a parlay going on here. I mean, even the NBA, like, what was that, 2 or 3 years ago? We had Otani's translator betting. Like, what? So, regardless, and I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, DePaul, was one of the big schools that was busted for gambling and, sports betting. So, it's crazy about all this stuff. But, regardless, so much going on in the NBA. And the trade deadline ends on February 5th. And this time of year is always so stressful for big NBA fans. I remember it was, I want to say 2021. Yes, 2021. I was working, and this was the year that the Orlando Magic decided to trade. It was Nikola Vucevic, Evan Fournier, and Aaron Gordon. All on the same day. I clocked out for lunch, and on my phone, I'm just getting Twitter notifications, and it's bam, 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 bam. And I am just on my 30-minute lunch break. I'm shocked. Granted, it did work out for us because that got us like Franz and Jalen Suggs and all of that. But like in the moment, holy cow. So this deadline, it causes a lot of stress for sports fans, like especially NBA fans. So let's talk about what's going on. The big trade that has already happened is the Trae Young trade. Trae Young, went to Atlanta, has been in Atlanta, left, said that he wanted a trade. And a lot of people are like, oh, why would he like say that he wanted to trade? They don't have to trade him, like just because he requested a trade. Let's put it this way. If you don't want to be someplace, you don't have to sit there and play good, okay? I could go on the court and suck, okay? I could just go and throw the ball, airball every single ball because I do not want to be there, okay? Why would they want to willingly keep someone there that does not want to be there, okay? When they could have someone there that wants to be there and wants to help benefit the team, That's the way that you have to look at it. So, Trae Young said sayonara to Atlanta and went to Washington, to the Wizards. And looking at the Wizards lineup, you would think that they realistically should be performing a lot better than they are. Like, they have Trae Young, but they have Chris Middleton. And like before that, they had CJ McCollum. But they have like all of these like good, at one point they were like stars of their teams, but they're just not meshing well together in order to be a top contender. It's just, I think that given time, it will happen, possibly, but right now it's not. And it's not close, unfortunately, for them. That trade, it was like, I give you a box of chocolates and you give me a rock. And not one of the anthropology rocks or anything like that. Just a rock or a pebble. And like Trae Young, he's still young. He still has stuff in him. Like CJ McCollum he's getting up there in age. Not to say he won't help or anything like that, but, and I couldn't even tell you, I don't even think I've ever seen that, is it Corey Kispert? Yeah, I have never seen Corey Kispert play live. I hadn't even heard of him, unfortunately, until the trade. So I'm interested to see how he does in Atlanta. He could do really well. Maybe that's what he needed, is to go to Atlanta and get out of Washington. So we'll see. There is a big, big rumor about Ja Morant and how he could possibly be getting traded. This trade, I'm not surprised about, okay? With the Grizzlies, they got rid of Desmond Bane over, the summer. Desmond Bane went to Orlando. Orlando's very happy about that. But they got rid of Desmond Bane. Ja Morant's been dealing with a lot of stuff on himself. Ja and their head coach have been fighting, having altercations. That got Ja suspended for a game. I mean, he's been dealing with stuff literally outside of basketball too, like legal battles. This is probably one of his worst NBA seasons, I would say. And I mean, they're overseas right now and he's not even playing because of injuries. So I could see him getting traded. I really could. This is also the first time that the Grizzlies have approached like trades for Ja Morant, which is also very interesting, and it kind of shows that this is very likely to happen. From what I was seeing, it's the Heat, Bucks, Raptors, and Kings. Those are the 4 teams that are all interested in a possible trade. Out of those 4 teams, The one that I would be most interested in seeing something happen with is the Heat. I think that because the Heat lost Jimmy Butler, and as we know, Jimmy Butler is over in the Warriors now, that this would be a very interesting mashup to see, him over there with Bam and Tyler Hero. That could work. But looking at it from a different perspective, I could not see Ja and Giannis playing well together. I don't know what it is. I couldn't see the two of them playing well together where I could see Tyler Hero and Ja playing well together. I don't know what it is. It's that. Anthony Davis is another big name that is being talked about. And here's my opinion. Okay. Anthony Davis just got traded to the Mavs with the whole Luka thing. Okay. Devastated the city of Dallas. Okay. Devastated them. And Anthony Davis is also one of those people. I mean, he's injured right now, so I can say this. He's very injury prone. Okay. And I don't think there's been a season where he hasn't gotten injured at least once. At least twice, let's put it that way. So, especially right now, he's sidelined with a hand injury. I think that the report when he got injured said 6 weeks. But with a hand injury too, it's like one of those things. Like he's going to have to retrain this motion and everything. So, he's going to have to be careful with all of that, And then as for the teams, it was the Hawks, Raptors, Bucks, and Warriors all looking for trades and everything. I don't think the Hawks will do anything. The Raptors, I could not see Anthony Davis on the Raptors. I really couldn't. Just sit here right now and think. Imagine Scotty Barnes and Anthony Davis on a team together. Just really try to imagine that. You can't. Because I can't. I can't. And we have the Bucks, okay? They already got a big man over there. Like, he's not going to sit behind Giannis, and they're not going to trade Giannis. They've already made it clear they're not trading Giannis. And Giannis said himself he does not want to leave Milwaukee. I know at the beginning of the season, there was rumors that Giannis wants to get out of Milwaukee, blah, 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 and all that stuff. But Giannis fully said if he could spend his entire season or his entire career in Milwaukee, he would. He won a championship there, for God's sake. The Warriors, that would be the only option I would see, feasible. But, at the same time, looking at the Warriors, too, they are trying to get rid of Kuminga because Kuminga did request a trade. So, and I'll talk about that. So, this only happened 2 days ago, I want to say. Kuminga demanded a trade from the Warriors. And like I said, this was very recent. But he hasn't played since the beginning of December. He's not a bad player. And I get it. The Warriors have so much talent. Okay, let's put it that way. And especially now, they have Jimmy Butler. They have Buddy Hield. They have, Steph Curry. They got all these people over there. But also, why are we benching Kuminga for all this? You have more players than just Steph Curry. But also, it's Steph Curry. This man does trick shots that actually blows my mind. And he does it so effortlessly. It's insane. So, I really could see that. And the Mavericks are one of the teams that are rumored to be looking at him. And it's the Kings and the Mavericks. But, if I do see an AD trade, I could see Kuminga and AD. But that's the only team I really could see that being feasible for AD. Other than that, I do not see Davis getting traded. So, last bit of basketball I'm going to talk about is not necessarily about trades or anything like that, but I want to talk a bit about two teams, two specific players. Both of these players suffered ACL injuries last year. And both of these ACL injuries did happen to occur during the playoffs last year. And I'm going to keep you guys guessing. One of these injuries happened in Game 7 in the NBA Finals. One of these injuries happened in Game 4 of Eastern Conference. Yeah, so we are talking about Jason Tatum and Tyrese Haliburton. So, looking now, we have the Indiana Pacers, who are all the way down here in the Eastern Conference, okay? And we have the Boston Celtics, who last I checked are second, only behind the Detroit Pistons right now. The Boston Celtics' success right now is solely thanks to Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is solely carrying the Boston Celtics right now. Wow. He had a 50-point game the other night. His rebounds are close to double digits in every game. He's scoring 20s in every insane. And when Jason Tatum comes back, I'm scared. He's going to be on a revenge path. And I also don't think that Jaylen Brown's going to back down. So the entire league needs to be scared. Genuinely needs to be scared. Also on that note, when you look at the opposite side of it, we have a team that was in the finals last year. Their star player had an ACL tear. And they're on the bottom end of the pool. Unfortunately, their second up, Pascal Siakam, is not able to take on the brunt load of it. It's very unfortunate to see the downfall of the Pacers, but at the same time, I was seeing stuff that Tyrese is supposed to be coming back soon. I hope that they are going to be putting him on limited time, just because ACL injuries are nothing to mess around with. And it scares me when players come back too early. So hopefully all is well with both of them and recovery is going well. But it's crazy seeing all that. But it shows you the Tyrese Haliburton effect. It really does. So one more point about the NBA. Just a shout out right now. Anthony Black, holy cow. That is the MIP this season. It really is. I mean, we're averaging 20 plus points a game. This dunk against the Grizzlies last night had my jaw on the floor. 4 defenders. 4 defenders. One of them being Jaren Jackson Jr. He's consistently defensive player of the year right here. 4 defenders. Insane. Actually insane. And this photo right here alone makes Anthony Black this week's MVP. Because holy crap, this is insane. So, if he's not most improved player this year, I don't know. Whoever else is better have had a cooler photo than this or more consistent points, all that. That's all I gotta say. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is something that is occurring soon, and that is the Super Bowl. Okay. Super Bowl is happening so soon. It is so competitive, and I'm really excited for the Super Bowl this year. I mean, part is because I am a Bears fan. I am. And I don't know. I mean, they call us the Cardiac Bears for a reason. And we're really proving true to that this season. We really are. But on the other flip side of it, I have some predictions for everything. And I'm going to kind of spit them out. If my predictions are true, I'm going to be through the moon. And I should have bet money on him, but I didn't. But yeah, let's go through my predictions for the rest of the playoffs. Yay! So let's start with the AFC. The AFC, where we are right now, is we've already, finished wild card. So first game after wild card is going to be Bills Broncos. I think that the Broncos, we got good defense, we got Bo Nix, all that, but I think that the Bills are going to take this one, okay? I think that just Josh Allen, like just that offense in general, is going to clear it. So I'm taking the Bills. Texans, Patriots. I think that the Texans win the other night was lucky at best. I'm going to take the Patriots. I really am. I think that the Patriots have been doing phenomenal this season. Part of it is because of Drake May, or whatever they want to call him, like Drake, May, whatever it is. So I'm going to take that. I also think that the Texans do have a phenomenal defense as well. So I'm going to take the Patriots, though. So going forth with that, it would be Bills-Patriots. I think that game would actually feed families for centuries. Imagine Josh Allen versus Drake May. Yeah, insane. Okay? This game could go either way. It really could. But if history repeats itself, as much as I hate to say it, Josh Allen chokes when it comes to games like this. He really does. And because of that, with history and like just the whole, not even Josh Allen, but the Bills team itself, when it comes to games like this, they just historically do not perform well. Also, I think that the Patriots itself, they are very, very motivated right now. There's so much fan support. And just in general, I haven't seen this type of fan engagement for the Patriots since Brady and Gronk was over there. And I think that they're going to use that. And it's going to be that versus Bills Mafia. Crazy. But I'm going to pick the Patriots. Yeah. So going over to the NFC now, okay? We have 49ers versus Seahawks. Okay. Well, as we know, in the game last week, 49ers versus Eagles, George Kittle got hurt. George Kittle is out for the remainder of playoffs, however far the 49ers make it. I'm taking the Seahawks. Okay. The Seahawks defense is phenomenal over there recently. I also think that the Seahawks picking up Cooper Kupp during the offseason was a great pickup for them. And that will alone help them without George Kittle. And I know that the 49ers do well without George Kittle. They beat the Eagles without George Kittle. They did very well against the Bears without George Kittle. So it's just like they will do fine without George Kittle. But I'm picking the Seahawks still. Rams versus Bears. So there's this picture that I saw, and this is going to be the coldest football game in Chicago Bears history. There are two different ways that the teams are approaching this. Okay. Obviously, it's a little harder to approach the weather in Los Angeles. But the Rams are preparing for this by practicing with their air conditioning on the lowest temperature. Okay? Ben Johnson is making Bears players practice without their heaters on. Yeah. So, everyone is saying, oh, Matt Stafford is used to playing in this. He played in Detroit. He played in Detroit. Detroit has a dome over it. Okay, dome. insulated heat. Chicago does not have a dome. It's cold. People's beers freeze. Yeah. So I'm picking the Bears. Okay. Matthew Stafford historically does not play well in cold games. Yeah. They're going to freeze. They're going to have to be wearing long johns or something. Also, I'm calling it now. It's going to be another cardiac Bears game. It's going to be 2 minutes left, and yeah. So that leaves us with Seahawks Bears for the NFC Championship. This one really had me going back and forth, okay? Because the Bears defense and the Bears offense, let's do it this way, the past couple games have both been so inconsistent. This game also would be in Seattle. So I could see this again going either way. I really could. But as a Bears fan and as a believer in Ben Johnson, I am going to say the Bears. I really think that Caleb Williams and the whole team has entrusted themselves in Ben Johnson to the point where, they wholeheartedly believe in him. They believe in each other. And that's why they have those cardiac bear moments at the end. So that leaves my Super Bowl prediction being Patriots versus Bears. Again, I think that this game would be so exciting. Caleb Williams, 2024 2024 quarterback draft class, number 1 pick. Then we have Drake May, also 2024 quarterback pick. So that alone would be exciting. I think that the game could go again either way. I mean, Patriots defense, you have Stephon Diggs, you got Colson Loveland. There's just so many good players, and, Kyle Makungai and Luther Burton III. I know I'm just naming Bears players at this point, but still, also it would be in the heat, so there would be both teams are used to playing in the cold, so it really wouldn't make a difference for that. It would just be nice for them. Again, as good of a game as it would be, I'm going to have to pick the Bears because I'm a Bears fan. But it could go either way. It really could. And I was talking to my family about this yesterday. And as biased as it could seem, it also does, in a sense, seem realistic, which is scary to think about. Anyway, I will see you guys next week. Bye.